Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I'm your host, as always, Chad Bardo. Joining me is the always glorious one, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Good man. Bring you some Tuesday night, late night
Yeah,
delight.
it is a off-colored, off-brand day for us, but we are here talking some wrestling and trying to figure out how to. I hate Twitter so fucking much. It's so slow.
Yeah. That muscle guy really is coming and Thanos the relevance out of it.
Yeah, he's not good. I know people like him because he's chaotic and he's against the grain he's been bad for everything he's touched. He is a I'm pretty sure that the Big Bang Theory started to go down in quality after he made his cameo.
Yeah, yeah. Going back to the Thanos thing. Universal correction seems like a great idea until your people get wiped.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, before we get into the wrestling at all, Marcus and I are, to different degrees than maybe most, fans of the anime. And I just started watching one last night. It's called Zom 100 or something like that. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
So it's basically a story about a guy who hates his job and works too damn much. Do you maybe see why I decided to start watching this one?
This is wait a minute, the anime or biography?
Right?
uh,
So he uh, he uh, he hates his job and he's basically working 18-hour days and he's basically a human zombie. And then one day the zombie apocalypse actually happens and he realizes he doesn't have to go into work anymore. So he snaps out of his funk, becomes a whole new man, and starts living life. And he comes up with apparently 100 reasons or 100 things to do before he gets bit by a zombie. And his whole thing is, I'd rather tell the woman I love, uh, um, or if I can't tell the woman that I love her, I'd rather get eaten by a zombie. Or if I can't get an RV, I'd rather get eaten by a zombie. So that's like kind of his reoccurring gag. And it's mildly entertaining. I would not say it's overly impressive as a story. A lot of typical anime archetypes, but they do this really interesting thing with, instead of a lot of blood and gore, it's vibrant colors, reds, blues, yellows, and it makes things a little bit interesting. If you have Netflix, if you like anime, if you like zombie stuff, maybe give it a shout out or a check. So,
gotcha.
have you been watching anything worth talking about before we hop into this?
No, not that's just I guess out of the zeitgeist just been later also keeping up with Invincible. Uh just caught up on it's not anime but Taylor Sheridan is doing a take on Bass Reeves with David Oyelowo
Hmm.
on Bass Reeves, so checking that out. And other than that, just I guess prepping for some of these gearing up for some of these Netflix live adaptations that's dropping next month.
What was it? Yu Yu Hakusho, I think is dropping next month.
Yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho. Then got the last Airbender coming. Looks in, that look like that's gonna be good. And then Disney Plus has got that Percy Jackson and Olympian. So hopefully that works better as a series than it did two films. But, yeah, I got to jump back into some of this anime. I want to try. I don't know if you checked out. I want to jump into Bleach, but
Very iconic. Never seen it.
yeah. I've never jumped into One Piece, mostly because it got 1,000 and some episodes. I'm just not even trying to go down that rabbit hole. And Been thinking about this Jujutsu Kaisen, but I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I've been thinking about that one too because there was a collab with Fortnite recently. I was like, this seems interesting. This curse of it all
Yeah.
sounds interesting. Now, I did give One Piece a chance 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago because Swish, our beloved Alex Swisher, suggested it to me, and I was fully dedicated to going through all 900 and odd episodes at the time. And I didn't want to sign up for Crunchyroll, and I didn't have access to the less than decent ways of
Yeah.
watching things.
Yeah.
So I ended up tapping out because I was not gonna watch the entire series in a sub because the fuck am I? A
Yeah.
weeb?
A weeb.
I don't think so. Speaking of weebs, I didn't realize that fans like this still existed, but let's get into the wrestling of it all because I've seen some stupid fucking takes, man. Some stupid fucking takes on Twitter. Namely, the idea that Mike Bailey should abandon Impact slash TNA to go to New Japan and compete in the Super Juniors, the light heavyweight division. Because all he's doing in TNA is competing in the X division. Now, would that be a one-to-one maneuver, basically pigeonholing him in a company no different than the other? Yeah, be the same move. But the individual's defense of it was, well, New Japan doesn't rely on wrestlers having characters and promo skills as much as TNA would, and Mike Bailey would be a better fit there. Firstly, that's fucking stupid. Don't ever speak. You are a moron. Secondly, um, Bailey is highly entertaining, and his weirdness is his personality, and it's a very unique one. Secondly, or thirdly, I don't know what number, I'm not fucking numbers. Why would you ever give up someone as talented as Mike Bailey because you're not going to put him in the main event scene? That's really the whole shtick of it. Like, oh, he's not going to be in the main event scene. Who the fuck cares? He's a feature talent. That's what matters. Not everyone's a world champion, and Mike Bailey is a world champion caliber athlete. Like let's dispel that. Should he be? I don't know. He's going to need a little bit of an overhaul to get there, but he could absolutely be a main eventer. But the thing that really pisses me off to no one is this inclination that because he's not a world champion, he should leave TNA and go to New Japan, where he would be buried in a very mediocre light heavyweight division. And I'm going to say something controversial. This isn't just me saying it, because I have no qualms with New Japan. I like New Japan. The X Division is more important and more prestigious and more impressive than New Japan's light heavyweight division. And I mean historically. The light heavyweight division is longer, it's older, it's had as big of names in the history of wrestling hold those belts as TNA has had with the X Division, but I would say the last 10, 15 years, the light heavyweight division has not had the best of the best. Like, you have guys that are. They had, I think, Kenny Omega. I think he held the belt for a little while. But, like, Taiji Ishimori's not selling tickets. Hiromu Takahashi's not selling tickets. He's not even that good of a wrestler. He's fine, but he's nothing to write home about. Like, I don't know. A lot of people are like, you know who I really love? Hiromu Takahashi. I mean, you can like him. You can even love him. I just don't know many people who do. It's not a division that has top flight matches, because if you're very, very good in New Japan, you're gonna wrestle in the main event scene. So, and I don't even think Will Ospreay held that belt. Let me look that up. Let's see if I'm right. That's a guesstimate. I am guessing. I feel like he did. Let's see. He held the belt 3 times. That's how impressive his reigns were. I forgot he even held a belt. Currently, Hiromu Takahashi's in his 5th reign of 312 days. Before that, it was Taiji Ishimori, former X Division champion. Before that was El Desperado, the legendary El Desperado, who held the belt twice in the span of the same year. He won it in February of 01, then he won it again in November. Robbie Eagles, Hiromu Takahashi. Like, for the last 4 years, it's either been Takahashi, Ishimori, Desperado, and then a little changeover with Robbie Eagles. And say what you want, Takahashi, not that guy. Ishimori, not that guy. Before that, you had Kushida. I know a lot of people love Kushida. I'm not a big Kushida guy. Dragon Lee held it for 64 days. That could have been fun. You have a lot of spikes like Kenny Omega held it for a little while, but then you have like Bushi, really Bushi, Raishiki Taguchi. You had Kota Ibushi, Prince Devitt, but that was nearly a decade ago. Like here are some real fucking solid names. You had Mystico, the Mystico, the original Tiger Mask. You had Naomichi Marufuji. You had Prince Devitt, aka Finn Balor. Kota Ibushi, Prince Devitt. Loki, Kota Ibushi. Loki, Prince Devitt, Kota Ibushi. Kushida. That was a hell of a run. That was 2014. Since then, you had Raishiki Taguchi, Kushida, Bushi, Takahashi, Marty Skrull. It's dropped off. And it does that sometimes. I don't think TNA's X Division title has dropped off. Because before Saban, you had who? You had. Shit. Now I'm blanking.
Trey Miguel.
Trey Miguel. And then before Miguel, you of course had Saban again. Who did Saban even beat the first time around?
How long has it been since it was Alexander and then
It's been a while. So it's Saban, Leo Rush, Saban, Miguel, Kazarian, Bailey, Ace Austin, Miguel, Josh Alexander, Ace Austin, TJP, Rohit Raju. That's like your big knock. Bay, Willie Mack, Ace Austin, Jay Chris, Rich Swan, Brian Cage, Matt Seidel, Taishi Ishimori, Trevor Lee, Sanjay Dutt, a dip. Low Key, Trevor Lee, DJZ, Lashley, Eddie Edwards, Mike Bennett, a bit of a dip. Eddie Edwards, Trevor Lee, Tigre Uno, Rockstar Spud, Kenny King. I'd say that. I know that he's going to be a little stinger for Marcus, but that was a dip. Rockstar Spud, Loki, Austin Aries, Loki, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Sonata, Austin Aries, Chris Sabin, Austin Aries, Chris Sabin, Manic, a dip. Chris Sabin, Austin Aries, Chris Sabin, Kenny King, a dip. Rob Van Dam, Zima Ion, DJZ, not so much, Zima Ion, a dip. Austin Aries, Brian Kendrick, a dip. Abyss, Kazarian, Jay Lethal, Robbie E, a definite dip. Jay Lethal, Amazing Red, Jay Lethal, Douglas Williams, Kazarian, Douglas Williams, Amazing Red, Samoa Joe, Homicide, Christopher Daniels / Kazarian at Suicide, Alex Shelley, Eric Young, Shadiq Abdul Bashir, a bit of a dip. P.D. Williams, Jay Lethal, Johnny Devine, a definite dip, the dippiest of all. Jay Lethal, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Jay Lethal, Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Chris Sabin, Senshi Loki, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, P.D. Williams, Kazarian, Mike Shane, bit of a dip there. Sorry, Matt Bentley. Styles, Kazarian, Sabin, Matt Bentley, Sabin, Amazing Red, Kid Cash, Sonny Siaki, Jerry Lynn, AJ Styles, Six Pac. I'm not going to say Six Pac was a dip. That was great. Jerry only held it for 14 days, but it was great. Jerry Lynn, Loki, AJ Styles. Like, this is a who's who of the best wrestlers of the last 20 years. I can't say the same thing about the New Japan Light Heavyweight division. Is it a historic division? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Is it good? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But is it better than TNA's Impact X division? No. Nah, I wouldn't say so. Marcus, would you say so?
no, but we know when it comes to these things, particularly when it's being reflected off the internet, it comes down to the value of the narrative with the name. So even if that is 100% accurate, that is not only about what is probably more intent with Impact, because it's the foundation of which the company was built off of, because New Japan has a better name narrative, they go with that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I agree with everything you said. It's interesting you going back down those lists to take me back down memory lane. But yeah, it just again, people could very much entitled to their opinion, but from everything you said, and then looking at the tweet, and then like you said, it's not a deep ball down the field. It's a lateral. and it's not even a lateral with a good reason behind it. Because basically, what you're telling uh, Bailey to do in so many words is to shut up and dribble. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, that's fair. So, internet dorks aren't the only one having trash takes. Apparently, Cody Rhodes said that Logan Paul is having the greatest rookie year of all time because he won a terrible looking United States title from a 50-year-old one kneed individual. Sure. Oh, and then he collided with Ricochet at the Royal Rumble. So
and then lost to Roman Reigns.
yeah. So yeah, not great. Not great, Bob. Not great. Now let's look at a little man named Bork Laser, little Lark Bresner, something like that. The big Canadian hunk of meat, Brock Lesnar. In his opening 3 months, he ended the hardcore division by beating the shit out of everyone. He defeated the Hardy Boys in a handicap match. Then he defeated Rob Van Dam to win the King of the Ring. That right there's more impressive than anything Brock Lesnar's done. Not Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul's done. And listen, I don't mind Logan Paul. I think he's very apt for pro wrestling. I think if he can help bring eyes to the product, more power to them. Then after that, he defeats The Rock at SummerSlam. Defeats Undertaker at Hell in a Cell in arguably the best match of 2002. And 2002, mind you, had Rock Hogan. It had the SmackDown 6 tag team series with Eddie Guerrero, Chavo, Benoit, Angle, Ray, and Edge. It had Shawn Michaels versus Triple H at SummerSlam. It had the debut of the Elimination Chamber, and I would still argue that Taker Lesnar's better than all of those. Then, continuing on, Lesnar would then beat. Well, he would lose to Big Show at Survivor Series, win the Royal Rumble, then defeat Kurt Angle to win the title in the main event of WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is either perpetually high, perennially stupid, or has severe brain damage already. It's one of the three, and it can't not be one of the three. Marcus, is Logan Paul having the best rookie year in pro wrestling history?
No, hell no. It's not even. It's not look, just like you said, and we don't even necessarily. Obviously Brock is the answer. And you didn't even need to run down everything he did. Uh, the absolutely cancel out the Logan Paul thing, like we mentioned about the Hell in a Cell. Still think back to the fact he countered a tombstone, power taker up out of the tombstone position onto his shoulders, and F5'd him. I think to get the win. Like he's still like a freak, but he was just like something to oogle back then. Um, because he just looked like he was just the real definition of a freak. But yeah, I mean, what was Angle's rookie year off the
So
top of your
yeah,
head?
so all right. So, if we're going to straight from TV debut, I think he debuted at the '99 Survivor Series, defeated John Stasiak. Then he went on a bit of a winning streak. Lost to Taz at the Royal Rumble, but he won the Intercontinental and European titles in the span afterwards. Lost them both at WrestleMania. Started a partnership slash feud with Triple H and Stephanie, resulting in him winning the WWE Championship, if I remember correctly, at Unforgiven 2000 or no, it was No Mercy 2000 from The Rock, and he would hold the belt until Austin beat him. No, Rock beat him at February's No Mercy, No Way Out. I think that's right. So he won 3 titles, was involved with every top star in the company, sans Stone Cold and Undertaker. Defeated Jericho, Benoit, and The Rock. Probably had a win over Triple H at some point that year. So yeah, I would say if Brock's not the answer, Kurt is. At least if we're talking about WWE.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, didn't and you know, I know I don't know exactly if this happened the first year, but didn't Jericho have a hell of a year too?
He had his. He had so as a rookie, it's like what are we talking about when it comes to Jericho? Are we talking about his actual rookie year? Because I couldn't. Are we talking about his first year in the WWE? He had a
Yeah.
pretty decent year because he debuted in September, or I think it was late August, right after SummerSlam, I think, or maybe right before. Beat up Ken Shamrock and actually sent him out of the promotion. Then he feuded with China and Jeff Jarrett for the IC title, but mostly China. Won it, feuded with Angle and Benoit. Then he feuded with The Rock and Triple H. I think at one point when Triple H was champion, he even pinned him and quote unquote won the belt. But then Earl Hebner, it was revealed, had screwed Triple H and fast counted, so he didn't hold on to the belt. I think Jericho would then regain the belt later in the year. So like not as great, but I would say comparable, if not better than absolutely his first year, better than Logan Paul's rookie year. But this
Yeah,
is genuinely Logan Paul's rookie year. Like, this is his first year wrestling, so I wouldn't put Jericho's up there because Jericho had already had 4 years of TV wrestling under his
gotcha,
belt.
gotcha.
Because I think he debuted with WCW in '96.
Yeah, and I think I mean that points out another whole like that sentence is just too it's too vague. Like you need to
Mm-hmm.
be specific. Like you talking about best rookie year for somebody that's considered an outsider from WWE, best celebrity rookie year or something like that. Um, but you would also have to kind of caveat that because not a lot of celebrities have come in and actually had a run so much as a one off. But even still, I'm like, dude, you are pissing over a lot of history with that statement. Like it's just ridiculous.
You're not wrong. I don't know if Lex Luger won the belt in his rookie year. Let's check it out. I accidentally googled Lake Luger. Yep, that's not a thing. Right now on YouTube, you can check out Lex Luger's debut in TNA. If I remember correctly, he had a one-off match in 2003, maybe 2004, against Sting and AJ Styles.
The YouTube they've turned their YouTube channel to an absolute like hardcore TNA fan treasure trove. Like I just got through watching they put up like the best. I forgot how the number of entrances of people.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. And they again put up the 2009 three way between Joe Angles and Daniels, Joe Styles and Daniels.
All
So,
right,
so
so Luger didn't join Jim Crockett until '87, so he didn't win the world title until at least '87. But yeah, what are you gonna
yeah,
do?
he said it must be this. It's that neck tat ink that's going into his brain.
Maybe it's him being high on his own supply. He did solve racism. Good for Cody. I don't know how that man still has fans. Honest to God. Like I know, maybe you're a fan of his, and like listen, cool. But like after all the dumb shit he's done, right? After all the stupid nonsense he said, I don't know how people consider him and take him seriously as a human being. I don't mean like I don't mean sitting here going, well, is Cody a good wrestler? He is. I mean, like, how can you look at Cody and not go, Jesus Christ, you're a meme. You are a living embodiment of a meme.
I think part of it is that dustiness that's on him, uh, the dusty favor, if you will. And then I think and we talked about this before. He's got that politician's polish, if you will.
Yeah. And I think too many people are embracing him simply because his departure from AEW. He picked the WWE over AEW, so now like we're gonna
Yeah,
you know
it's And now so much of that fan base is like the sing along bandits now. So it's like, as long as you got that tune, you know, you got us, babe. That whole deal. So
I never thought I'd see the day when wrestling fans would ruin me and ruin my love of sing-alongs, but they did. Not everything needs to be sung in unison. Like Judas was dope, but we've gotten out of hand. We've gotten out of hand. Speaking of getting out of hand, things in MLW are getting out of hand. Apparently, there is some concerns about the company going forward. They had, I think, like 5 wrestlers ask for, and 4 being given their release. I think it's Aramis, Ariz, Alexander Hammerstone. I can't remember the Lance Anawahi and his tag team partner Juicy Fanua. I think his name is. They all asked for the releases, and with the exception of Hammerstone, all were granted them. Apparently, Ariz and Aramis, I think I'm saying those right, requested the release over the summer, and they were granted that, but due to miscommunication between Court Bauer and MLW and AAA, I think it was AAA, they didn't find out that they had been granted their MLW releases until recently. Finawa and Awahi both got released when they requested it, and this kind of goes back to the fact that like they lost Richard Holiday, they lost the Von Erichs. This is seemingly a company that is burning through people, and something else kind of popped up recently as I was just perusing from about a month ago. I think Enzo Amore did an interview and revealed, and it may have been even, I think it was October, it may have been longer ago, and he revealed why he left MLW. He was not on an official contract. He was doing a per date handshake agreement, and apparently Court Bauer or someone specifically in creative told Enzo to bury Holiday. Now Richard Holiday at the time was on hiatus from the company because he was dealing with cancer. And apparently, according to Enzo Amore, Enzo was told to bury Holiday as he left the company to go deal with his treatment. And Enzo didn't want to do that, and apparently there was a bit of an issue, and Enzo left the company over it. So, with them now losing Hammerstone, who is the linchpin of that company at this point, and all these guys asking for the releases, things are not going well for MLW. And I like MLW. But there's seemingly a pattern of issues there that Court Bauer can't seem to get under control. One, he just can't keep talent. Darby Allin, Swerve Strickland. I'm pretty sure there are a few other names that have popped up in there. MJF. Brian Pillman. You know, some of these dudes that are now starting to blow up all came through MLW, but one of the more interesting names that I think seemingly got kind of swept aside was Davey Richards, because when he was there, he had some good matches, but allegations of him being hard to deal with and possibly being not in a great space. There are accusations and allegations that maybe he wasn't sober or straight while he was working. And all these things just on top of each other. Like, one, okay, but all of these things on top of each other just really paints a nasty, ugly picture that seems to be developing in MLW. And I would be genuinely surprised, especially with the frequency in which they're changing television networks. In fact, I don't think they have a network at the moment. I know they're with Bet Online, and they might have something with Fight TV, but I don't think they have anything secure, and I don't think they have the resources or finances to keep going much longer. I would be surprised if MLW is around at the end of 2024. That is my bold, not a prediction, but that is where my gut feeling is that this is a company that it's on its last legs, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think they're going to let go of Hammerstone until his deal expires, because they need every top name they can get, because it's getting harder for them to bring people in. So, unfortunately, that's kind of where the situation is. I don't know much because, a lot of wrestling journalism comes from leaks within the locker room and the front office. But when you have like a 4 or 5 man front office like MLW does, you're not gonna have a lot of leaks, and a lot of the guys don't get informed on things until much later. So there's not gonna be a lot of details being leaked. So it's hard to know what's really going on in MLW, and I hope they stick around. I hope Court Bauer can fix shit that's going on, but having all these guys wanting to leave isn't good. And I've been suggesting them to you specifically, Marcus, for God knows how long. I don't know if I would recommend them right now because their roster, like they lost Myron Reed, he's now with Impact. Um, it's not as good as it once was. They do still have some stellar names, like one called Manders, but they definitely don't have the same talent level that they did this time last year. So it's interesting. Alex Kane, however, is still must see TV. So if you want to check out MLW for Alex Kane, go for it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I would pass.
yeah,
I'm
man.
still watching
Yeah, I mean that sucks, and I'm disappointed. Mostly, for you, you're my boy, and uh, been here as you've championed them for so long, particularly when it was real hot, and it's disappointing to hear that. I was going to ask if do you think some of these departures have just been that some of these guys have been uh, saw for themselves, that they feel like they've reached the ceiling, which we see in a lot of times. Folks feel like they've kind of done everything they could do with this particular time and this particular company, and would like to take their talents elsewhere and see what's on those horizons. But as you went along, it's like, okay, it seems like there's breakdown in communication and narratives behind the scenes, and people have, different motives for things that don't align with what, uh, I guess some of the wrestlers have in mind for what should be going on, and because they've been there long enough and have seen where things were, as opposed to where it's at. It's kind of coming off like what happened with Aldis, and it's like this is not the place it was when I started, the place I wanted to champion, the place I wanted to call home until maybe I wanted to wrap things up. And I have to chunk you the deuces. It's been fun, but it's not fun anymore. You know.
Yeah, and that's always the problem. When you have resource issues and you have issues trying to get on television and all that, it's never going to be a good thing. There are certainly some complicated issues going on in behind the scenes of MLW, and it kind of takes me back. And I don't remember what exactly caused it, but someone said something about MLW and about the business dealings that they were engaging in. And Saint Laurent, who is an on-screen figure and also works in the behind the scenes, got defensive about it because not an accusation. I think it was criticism was directed at Saint Laurent, but they got to get their shit together, and I don't know how much longer they're going to last if they don't. Which is ironic because that's what happened to MLW the first time around before they got relaunched. So I'm hopeful for that, but I am preparing for the worst. Speaking of preparing for the worst, let's talk about EC3 and the CW. So this is one of the funnier stories that I've ever heard in the history of wrestling because it doesn't just involve the NWA or the WWE. It also involves AEW. So for a very long time, arguably one of, if not the best airs of SmackDown, it used to air on the CW. Friday nights, 8 p.m., taped. I'd come from work,
Yes, you
or
did.
I would head over to a buddy's house. We'd watch SmackDown, eat some pizza and wings, and watch Kurt Angle, Booker T, Mr. Kennedy, Bobby Lashley, JBL, The Undertaker, Kid Cash, Rey Mysterio, all the highlights. And it was great. It was good stuff. I enjoyed it. They were also on My Network TV, I think. Let me see something, because I may be confusing CW with My Network TV. WWE SmackDown.
What? Because that's not the same as UPN, right?
UPN became My Network, and the WB became CW. Okay, so it was on CW. I'm not crazy. It was 2006 to 2008. UPN was prior. and then it left the CW from My Network TV. So I was correct.
Yes, it
Oh six
was.
oh oh wait. Okay.
Now you take me back through theme song. You and the anime. You and the anime.
Oh, and Green Day. I don't think that was the theme song then. Let's see if we can find the theme songs while we're here. Theme songs. Here we go. All right. In the CW era, it was Drowning Pool's "Rise Up," and then Enemy was 2010. Know Your Enemy by Green Day from 2010 to 2012. Prior to that, it was Let It Roll. And then you had Born to Run, This Life by CFOs, Centuries by Fall Out Boy, Are You Ready by AC/DC. I don't remember that. And then currently it's Nobody Better Than Me, Death Rebel featuring Supreme Madness. Ah, yes, The Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson. I remember that. All right, so apparently here's the situation. The CW is now getting into sports. I think they have the ACC college football. Could be wrong on the conference, but I think it's the ACC college football. They also have Live Golf, which is the Saudi-backed golf organization that killed the PGA. Then you have a auto racing series. I don't think it's NASCAR, and I don't think it's their. I think it might be their minor league or their second minor league. One of those two. So they're looking at getting into live sports because sports in general do better on television than conventional things like the DC TV of it all, like Arrow and whatnot. So like they're trying to find ways to pay off the purchase, and this is a good way to go about it. So they approached apparently uh, AEW about getting Ring of Honor, and they also approached the NWA about getting Power. And at the same time, they're talking to WWE about getting NXT. Now, apparently, the NXT deal was not coming along together fast. And for whatever reason, AEW decided that now wasn't the right time to put NXT, or not NXT, to put Ring of Honor on the CW. Now, I have a feeling that when it comes to that specific situation, I believe that Tony Khan did not want to put Ring of Honor on CW only out of concern that it would affect his relationship with Warner Media, which I completely understand. Now, as far as the NWA, that has of course been the going rumor that the NWA will be on the CW. Billy Corgan allegedly signed 2 deals with CW, one for the reality show about his life, one for NWA Power. And it was going to be this big thing. Then about 3 odd weeks ago at NWA Saw-Wayne, because apparently we can't say Sam Hain anymore, at Saw-Wayne, we saw James Mitchell do a fake bump of Coca-Cola. And no, I don't mean Coca-Cola. And apparently that perturbed the folks at the NWO, and not the NWA, at the CW, rightfully so, and they ended the deal. They don't want to do business with the NWA anymore. And should that deal still happen, it would only be because it had been signed prior to it, and that the network would put Power on the CW streaming service that they have, or CW website, whatever it is, which is not a step up. Nobody goes to it. It's stupid. And someone tries to say, well, it'd still be more eyes. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. No, it may. So now the current rumor is that with NXT going to the CW, the CW will not be doing anything with the NWA. So EC3 was asked about this on the recent Sportskeeda Wrestling Outlaws podcast, and he was asked, how do you feel about James Mitchell and his cocaine spot costing you guys a deal? He responded, do I know if James Mitchell's cocaine gig cost us the TV deal? I sure hope not. I will be very upset if it did. I'll be extremely upset if something that dumb and that pointless and that unnecessary towards the grand business scheme cost me a long-term financially beneficial deal. I will be livid, but I don't know. We haven't been told what we are getting. We haven't been told we are getting a TV deal with the CW network. We haven't been told anything of the details Other than that, it looks like it's on the horizon. Now, EC3 also just posted recently a very long message about how he is defending the NWA, defending the business practices of Billy Corrigan, challenging Nick Hausman that he didn't actually speak to anyone. In fact, and Nick Hausman was one that kind of broke all the news, and Hausman was the one that broke the CW story, then broke the falling out of such, and EC3 goes on to say, I don't think Nick Hausman interviewed one talent, or as he called him, a source. Keep that loser, the source, to yourself. We don't want him. But he never said anything. He just implied information based on the rumor. Not even this talent. This talent complaint was like being tested by the office or low morale. And that was what EC3 was essentially talking about when he was defending it. But now hearing EC3 talk about how he would be very pissed off that if this deal falls through, I don't think the morale is as low as I don't think the morale is as high as EC3 is trying to pretend it is. I think they're having problems. I think they're having a lot of problems, and I don't think EC3 really wants to admit it, at least not publicly. And now Billy Corgan, to his credit or lack thereof, did an interview with Drew Garbo Live, and Corgan said, "I'd like to say first and foremost, we have a television content producer." Wrestling in the 21st century is television first and everything else second, and that's not to say that the second is not important, but if you can't drive from the television down, you're going to have a hard time building an audience. Certainly, being on national television in some capacity, digital or otherwise, broadcast network, that's how you reach the most people. TV deals are the core of it. And there has been a lot of speculation lately, and I stand by what I said. We have 2 TV deals with a top 20 network. That's all I can say for now. There's a lot of speculation that's not true. But I can stand here and say, hand on the heart, that is absolutely true. That they have 2 contracts or 2 deals for a TV show. Marcus, are you buying that?
Yeah, I don't. You might not necessarily. I don't think he. I think there's a strong chance that he's not bluffing with that. But I also do think there's a little bit of like trying to get out here and get out in front and try to cut off the narrative before it goes too sour because of the blatant uh, head scratching situation that went off. At the end of the day, the CW had a major network shift, and they're very much looking to increase profit and cut costs while increasing profit, and um, very much changing just the entire format of their presentation and what that network has been for the last however many years, certainly the better part of a decade. And when it comes to the situation that went down with the NWA, on the outside looking in, even without having the, you know, as intimate details as Officer Corrigan do, I don't think the networks are going to go from the model of going from dare to defy to dare to do lines, right? So um, yeah, he's got enough money to make certain moves. So I've been to the bet he may very well have a couple of other TV deals, but you know I don't know how secure they are. That they might be loosely based, like you said, it might not be like what happened with the CW with the WWE might not be coming along uh as fast. Certainly not enough to say they locked in. But again, if you're trying to cut off a fast growing narrative that potentially get out of hand because of the internet, you very much want to save face and put out some good press. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, I think they definitely shot themselves in the foot with that segment. And that's not just with the CW. That would be with anybody they was trying to shop to. Nobody would want, particularly in the times we in now, with just everything is so scrutinized for the simplest little thing. Um, it's just you don't need the unnecessary bad press.
So, you want to hear something fascinating?
Yeah.
If Corrigan is to be believed, according to Variety, it's not the CW. Variety, as of the end of 2022, listed the rankings of the most watched television networks. Number 1 is NBC. Number 20 was the USA Network. The CW came in at number 25. So that means here's the top 20. NBC, not happening. That's a Fox network. CBS, ABC, Fox. Maybe Fox. Fox News Channel. ESPN. Univision, which I believe is a Spanish broadcasting channel. MSNBC, HGTV, Hallmark, Ion, TLC, TNT, not happening. Telemundo, again another Spanish broadcasting. TBS, not happening. History Channel, Discovery Channel, Food Network, INSP, which I don't even know what that is. I'm Googling it now. And the USA Network, which, again, not happening. So if we're to believe them, then that would mean the most likely outlets are either Fox, who, like CW, are looking to get into more live sports, or Ion. And that's it. And now INSP is a American digital cable network that features primarily westerns and is headquartered in Indianaland, South Carolina, the suburb of Charlotte. Now I don't know if that's actually true, if this thing's a thing, but if INSP is also an option, then because I don't know, why wouldn't it, right? Let's see, most viewed TV channels. Marcus, do you think any of those make sense, or do you think there's another one?
I think Ion, because didn't Ion carry a main event for a while?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a possibility they could run that back with something different. Fox, I don't know, Fox, it may work better if Fox as a live action sport than anything, because they be so wish washy with scripted series. They might actually serve better being sport. But yeah, probably Fox and Ion. Like you said, the other channel with ABC and NBC. I
Yeah, and
don't
that doesn't
necessarily
seem
see
likely.
those grabbing on the wrestling, and I think for a lot of those, the safe bet is the sports they used to. So yeah, for right now, I go with Ion and the other one.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's INSP, the Western Channel.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
It won't be definitely wouldn't be Lifetime.
No, although that would be funny. All right.
And
Anything
also,
else?
they would have probably would have made Sam Hain or Mitchell like the ex of the new chick that moved into the neighborhood that's trying to get away. Yeah.
Maybe. Anything else catch your eye that you want to chat about before we head on out?
Oh no, man. The tip of the hat and the kudos and all the flowers and respect and well wishes to Kevin Kelly, man.
Yeah, he'll be
Closing out
going
things.
full time with AEW, leaving New Japan. Had a nice run.
What do you think he's going full time with? You think he's going full time with AEW?
Well, that's essentially what he said.
Um.
He's going to be working with
Oh,
AEW
okay.
going